Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon in Nashville, Tennessee.
Billy Spitfire Unlimited.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show.
Very excited.
Where we get to have great conversations about guitars, gear, builders of said guitars and gear, influencers, hip shakers, makers, and all kinds of other ers.
So Todd, what is it?
Heartbreakers.
Right.
Todd,
Yeah.
what is it that we do on this show?
Enough of that. We've got a very special guest on the line right now. Who are you, special guest?
My name is David, and I'm from Breakfast Audio. I was wondering if you were going to make me do a little intro there, or something a bit more flamboyant, but
Do it.
There you go. No, we're good.
No. You opened the door. You opened the door, not us. You did.
Jimmy, baby.
We'll do this again. Hey, all right, special guest. Who are you?
David Gander from
Perfect.
Breakfast Audio.
I love it. Thank you. That was. Now, is that your most flamboyant state?
No,
Okay.
I probably would have had to be a couple of beers deep for that.
Okay. Well, maybe somewhere along the line we can coax a little bit more out of you. But that was lovely. Thank you for doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Breakfast Audio on the show. And if you're following along on our Instagram, you will have seen a really neat unveiling, an unboxing, an introduction, if you will, to a absolutely beautiful little pedal. And that is the Concrete Distortion, which we have on said table that we are podcasting on at this minute.
Hey, Todd.
What?
Did you know that Breakfast Audio is the most important pedal of the day?
Ooh, you were saving up for that one. I like that. He's very proud of himself.
I had to go to Breakfast Audio one time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really made the teacher mad. I had to go there every morning.
What the hell are you talking about?
You know,
That's
like
right,
Breakfast
in my head.
Club? Okay, that's in the outtakes.
Yeah. I need one of those big horns that go, huh? But hey, thanks for playing, Billy. All right. Hey, speaking of what? Dude, you can't do that to me in the middle of the thing. You bum. I love you for it, though. Anyways,
Did somebody just show you something?
No, that didn't happen. I want to point out just the other day, actually, was last Saturday. What was last Saturday, Billy?
Yeah, last Saturday we saw an amazing show here in town. Is that
No,
what
but
you're talking
more
about? No,
importantly,
wait,
it was March
sorry.
11th, 2023.
Oh,
you know what that was?
The end of daylight savings?
That was the last of Bender from Breakfast Club's Saturday detentions.
Oh, that's
No
right.
more.
See?
He's free and clear.
Look
He's
how
free and clear,
relevant I
everybody.
am. Look how relevant
That was
I am.
amazing. Yeah. So
I'm intrigued by the show you were saying.
we tied it all up just like a bow right there. All right. Now, David, where what the canteen just happened over there? David, where can people go to see the things that you do and make?
Two places, I guess. One would be Instagram. That's primarily where I update. So I think that's breakfast_audio for the Instagram. And then my website, which is breakfastaudio.com, which is mainly just a brochure website of sorts. So Instagram is the place to go.
Perfect. That's where you're keeping all the freshest bits.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Billy, don't get excited. We're talking about different fresh bits. Okay. So let's see here. We're just going to go straight to something that I thought we might want to share. We got a new executive producer.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Did you
Yes,
want to
sir.
share that to me?
Actually, I already did, Tony. But I just want
What's
to
the name?
read off. This is James Romer, and James Romer had this to say. He said, so I always ask everybody a couple questions when they join. He said, "Hey, my pleasure," to answer the questions. He said, what is your guitar of choice? J. Mascus Squire that has been black bobbined, modified by Shelby Pollard. If that means something to anybody out there, then you're like, whoa. He says, I love the 4 on the floor. It gives me ideas about my own pedal board. I listen on Spotify, and I heard you because of the Johnny Morales episode. Hey, Johnny. Johnny. Oh, he says he is his shop is James' local shop. So James knows Johnny, therefore he knows us now. Going through your backlog of episodes, I saw you had really solid, knowledgeable, solid, knowledgeable, and giving people on your show, and I will always support that. I don't have a Would You Rather queued up quite yet, and he's a large, so I'm that's for the shirt. Best, James Romer. So, James, welcome to the Guitar Knobs.
Absolutely.
We're so happy to have you, and thank you so very much for the support of our show. All right. We are going to get to what's going on in our music worlds this week. We're going to start off with Tanya Belansky, the lovely, the talented,
and beautiful,
and bilingual Tanya Belansky.
Don't push your luck.
And then we're going to check in with our friend David Gander. All right, go, Tony.
Well, this week, Todd, I forget how many episodes ago that I was bitching about the price of guitar cases. And they're still stupid expensive. And I needed a couple of Jazzmaster style cases. And I cannot force or bring myself to pay $150 or $175 for a guitar case. I'm sorry. They should be $100, plain and simple. But that's not the case. No pun intended.
Okay.
So I was able to score a couple of deals, and I think I shared this a couple times ago. I found a dealer somewhere that was blowing out some official Fender Jazzmaster Jaguar cases for $126 shipped on Amazon, which I thought was a fair price given what they're going for now. Mm-hmm. It's a $200 list case. And then, of course, as soon as I bought that, I found a used Gator case. What Amazon calls used is usually a return for some reason or other. And that one was only $102. So at least they're getting a little more realistic. $100 is probably what they should be, but I don't know if it's.
Are you going to hoard them and resell them?
No, I have guitars that need cases. so yeah, I needed them, and I don't like letting them sit out all the time like that. I've got a half dozen or so that I keep at the shop out, but the rest I like to keep in hard cases if possible. So that was my music world this week.
I love it. Thank you. Let's see here, David.
Yep.
I so badly wanted to go into Moira's voice from Schitt's Creek.
David, God, honestly, David. When we used to have that show on, that starts to get in your ear a bit, especially.
It does, and my family's all watching it now. I've already watched it, and so I'll just be in the other room, and David, it's so great, it's so great. Anyways, what's going on in your music world, man?
Actually, I'm not really playing guitar too much, but I'm going to cheat a little bit because I think this was over a week ago now, but I came back from a trip to Seattle to see Botch a couple of weeks ago, so that was the last kind of gig I went to, I think.
Botch?
Yeah, you ever heard of them?
BOTCH?
Yep, that's the one. So they're like, I guess a reference point that you might know is the guitarist. Do you know the guitarist from Minus the Bear?
I'm familiar with Minus the Bear in the sense that I know of the band called Minus the Bear, but I'm not, as the kids on the street say, hip to them.
Well, basically, he used to play in a kind of heavier band than that, a hardcore band of sorts. But like 20 years ago, they split up. So they've been doing
Was the bear in that one? In that band?
Dude. No. Come on. Let him get through
Maybe
one.
it was Cocaine
let him get
Bear.
through one
That's what I'm
single
saying.
thing.
It
It's
could have
not
been Cocaine Bear.
It's not Cocaine Bear.
I gotta see that.
Yeah. Okay, James. I'm here to help you out, man.
James, pardon my interruption.
Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead. David.
David.
Yep, so
We just read James off. Sorry. Dave, hang on. Oh, that's terrible. David, I'm here to help you out. Let's keep going.
cool. Yeah, I guess it would have been more impressive for you if you knew who the band were, but they haven't played for 20 years, and they've recently been doing shows again. So I went to see that. Outside of that, yeah, building a few more pedals. Not really playing guitar too much actually, but
Well, we need to change that, don't we?
yeah.
Now, is that the main style of music you listen to, like Minus the Bear kind of stuff?
Well, no, more all guitar music really, but yeah, predominantly when I was a teenager, back when Botch were about 20 so years ago, it was that kind of music I was listening to, like Converge, Dillinger, and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
So predominantly quite heavier, but these days, almost anything with a guitar in it.
Okay.
As long as it's not too. I'm not like a blues lawyer or anything like that.
Understood. So I'm imagining in Brooklyn or Bushwick, where more properly you're from, you get to see some pretty great local shows and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That was part of the reason why I moved here, actually. But I live by accident. We moved outside a venue. I literally live across the street from a venue, which I didn't actually realise until we'd moved in. Thankfully, the noise isn't too bad. But yeah, there's about, within a square mile or two, there's about 5 or 6 venues.
Wow,
So
Nice.
That's really cool.
it's been really good, yeah.
We have a similar situation down here in Columbus. There's quite a few venues.
Are you guys near? I have a book about, because when I go to different states, I try to visit. But you guys are near? Is it Ace of Cups?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one looks good.
Billy and I have played there. Tony
Nice.
might have played there when it was a cornfield in 19.
Don't talk to me anymore, Todd. No, I've seen a lot of shows there.
Yeah.
And they got a nice barbecue guy in the back
Yeah.
too.
Ace of Cups.
Yeah, that venue looks cool.
Yeah,
Anyways.
there's. I mean, just right in that stretch. There's Space Bar. There's Ace of Cups. There's Dick's Den. There's all kinds of great joints. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's the same here, but with less barbecue, I guess.
Yeah. So, can you turn us on to one of your favorite local bands that maybe we can all go discover?
I have got a few actually.
Yeah.
There's one who I knew before we moved here, and actually they live in Bushwick as well. Sometimes I see them walking their dog. There's a band called Bambara.
Bambara.
Yeah, they're a really good band. There's Show Me the Body, but they've been around for quite a while. They're kind of Queens based. They're a heavy punk band, I guess they would call themselves.
Okay.
What was that?
Show me the body.
Show
Show Me the Body. Yeah, they're relatively big in the underground at least. Who else is there? There's a few more really smaller ones that I've seen recently. There's one called Big Band. There's one called Decor. I don't know how you guys pronounce that. Decor.
Oh, Decor. Yes.
Decor. Yeah, they're really good.
That's a great name for a band.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit. It's one of those ones that's a bit hard to search. Same like Big Band. If you search Big Band,
Yeah, it's a
it just
mess.
comes up with. Yeah, it's not the best marketing. Who else do I see? There's a band. I haven't seen them yet, but I've been following them. They're originally from New Orleans, and now they've moved here. Called Wasteman.
Weissman?
Wasteman. Sorry, that's my accent.
Wasteman.
Wasteman. Yeah. And
So, okay, Wasteman.
Cool. Yeah, check
yeah,
these
those
out.
guys are good.
Yeah.
That's probably the main. Oh, there's another band called Cohort B as well. They're pretty good. They're kind of in the Show Me the Body kind of.
Cohort B.
Yeah, they're quite good. I only just recently found those, but yeah, there's, as you can imagine, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
there's a lot of
awesome.
shit bands as well, but
We
Yeah.
played with a band from New York City called they just came through to the Stoop called TVOD Television.
Oh, I've seen those guys, yeah.
Over TVOD
Overdrive.
overdose. Yeah,
Overdose.
TV television overdose.
Yeah.
I think I saw them with. I think they played with Protomata once.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
There's some. I love that we're getting. Billy, man, us two, we gotta get out to New York
NYC. Yeah, we gotta do that.
and New Jersey, man.
Okay, let's
do it. All right. I love the fact that you are like clearly a champion of the local band and local music scene. It's so important that we do that, because that's what keeps new music coming, you know? So thank you. Thank you for supporting it.
No worries. You have to listen to them now.
Dude, we all wrote it down, and I'm sure everybody else out there that was listening was doing the same thing. So thank you for sharing those. Okay, Billy.
I have an 80s P bass, and Tony, I want you to put.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful burst bass.
Tortoiseshell pickguard on there.
Okay. It's a really nice P bass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So take that with you when you leave.
And you just put, what did you just put on it? You fixed
Okay. So I put a badass high mass bridge.
Bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a light. Most of my P basses are relatively heavy, and I like just the old style Fender top loaded bridge. They're cheap, but it works, and I love it. But this one was light enough that I felt like I could afford that extra little bit of weight that you add. And I'm sensitive because I have a bad back right now, so.
You've always had a bad back.
Recovering back. So I've been sensitive to that. But anyway, so I added the high mass bridge, and man.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I can't hear bad back ever without thinking of the toy dolls. It's impossible. Have you got a bad back? That's fantastic. Well, put some of this on it.
It's working pretty good lately, though. So.
Yeah, and also when you said you're really heavy, I can't not think of Neil from the Young Ones. Oh, it's really heavy, man.
Now there's a reference I get.
It's impossible. It's like that's all my brain does is goes like reference. I'm so
That's a good one.
up.
I love that show.
Did I do a pretty good Neil there?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Okay. Dang, that means I do got to work on it. Shoot. All right, Jared.
Yeah, I did a no-no. I didn't keep up with my humidifier, and I always learn when it's too late. I picked up my one of my guitars, my Martin, and 69 Martin, and some of the frets are just kind of ouchy. They're poking up a little bit because the wood is not.
It's dry.
Yeah, it's dry. So I'm like, gosh darn it, I should have kept up with the
Do you have a guitar
humidifier. Yeah, somewhere.
Well, go get
well,
yourself
I actually
a
have
couple.
I have an actual humidifier for the room.
Yeah.
But I don't have any humidifier. Like, you're supposed to add this stuff to the water so it doesn't screw up and mold or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you put
I'm like, I'm
alcohol
just
in
not
it?
going to fill
Is
it
that
up.
what it is?
No, I'm just not going to fill it up because I don't have the stuff, and it'll be all right. And it's going to rain, and well, I didn't keep up with it.
Yeah, at some point it will rain. Well, if you can have like a sound hole humidifier, it's
I know.
Well, no, I'm just if you want to do a temporary fix on this guitar while you're rehumidifying your room, get one of those. Put it, it hangs on the strings, close the case stop, let it sit for a day, check it the next day, make sure that the sponge is still wet, and keep doing that for about a week, and it will take care of that situation. I was thinking you were going to say, oh, it's got a crack in the top. And
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going with it, too, because we all were having cringe face over here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
It's just like storing cigars and guitars.
Yeah, they probably
Cigars
like
and
the same
guitars.
humidity level.
A humidor. You need a guitar humidor.
Yeah,
A guitarmador.
a guitarmador.
You can invent that.
Armador. Yeah.
I like
Somebody out there needs to get on that.
Note to self.
Yes, indeed. Let's see. Boy, oh boy. I have a lot of stuff going on. But
Yeah, what about you, old buddy?
Hey, Todd, what do you do? What happened in your music week this world?
Yeah, this
Right.
world.
Let's see here. I was just about to say, wait, Billy, you got to go? All right. We got to say goodbye to Billy because he has to go see his mom.
Bye, Billy.
Yeah,
Bye, Billy.
he's
See
gotta-
you later, Billy.
Yeah, so it's,
Good luck.
Give Mom my best.
yeah.
Thanks. Hey, you know what my mom
she's
did
all
today? I called her up and told her I was playing in Chicago this weekend, St. Patty's Day weekend, and she started singing "The Wearing of the Green." She's like 87 years old, and she just like launches into the song.
What?
I'm like,
Wow.
it's just this old, so it's this old timey
Apple
song.
doesn't fall far from the
And
tree.
the wearing of the green. Sings around the house all the time.
Fantastic.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, wish her well-being. Okay.
Right on.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Thank you. Let's see here. So back to me.
Yeah, back to this.
Back to me.
This is all about you, Todd.
Back to me. Let's see here. I was able to, thankfully, I had the Black Star Amped 1 handy. And first of all, I really like playing that, playing the pedals through it and all that business. It is a great way to easily dial in a whole bunch of different stuff, going through headphones and everything, and it sounds true. It's really great sounding, and it's so easy to use. But importantly, as I mentioned maybe earlier, we're in relay recording right now, and John was sorting out one of our mixes on the new tracks that we're doing, and I saw a place where I was like, I really want this thing that we do on stage to have happen, and we didn't kind of capture that when we recorded. So I was able to go home, do a like a totally dry recording, so it sounded garbage because I didn't have any drive on it and stuff. So it was just it was dry as a bone, and then captured that, and now we're gonna dub that into the actual track.
And you did it that way because
it wasn't set up for everything. So I can just go home and go, here it is, and then he's going to punch it right in. So that was really cool. That worked out really nice.
I see.
Yeah. I mean, it's more ideal to actually capture it when you're here, but in retrospect, that was an easy way to do it. And because it has it's got a flat response and a linear output, then it's basically like it's non-affected, so he can go in and say, all right, I'm going to put it through a high watt amp modeler to keep it clean because I'm looking for this particular clean kind of part.
Clean but drivey.
Clean but drivey, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was great. It totally worked out, and I think in particular that worked better than me trying to record out of the amp, out of a microphone, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Or going through some other kind of other signal processor, because the Amped 1 goes right out of it directly in USB right into the old Logic Pro.
There you go.
Yeah, fantastic. Worked like a charm. We are going to get onward and upward.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, hooking this up was a breeze because the Amped 1 has an effects loop. And it comes with this dual cable, which is cool. You can sort that out.
Yeah.
But the dual cable, I was able to use 2 Tour Gear long patch cables to get it from my board and back out. So I didn't have to hook up guitar cables, which obviously, less cable, better signal, the whole 9 yards. So it was great. It worked out super, super easy.
Tell me more about these Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Well, they come in varied lengths. Now, obviously, I couldn't do that with like a 3-inch cable. So these are, I think I had a 18 and a 24, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. And had those handy, and it was great. It was exactly what I needed. But they obviously have all the other sizes that work great for, especially if you've got like side mount to top mount. They have S shape and C shape.
And they're flat.
And they're flat.
Flat as the earth.
Flat. And
Like a crepe.
priced to move. So if you go to tourgeardesigns.com and put a bunch of them in your basket,
Yes.
hit the coupon code The Guitar Knobs, you're going to save 10% on your entire order. It's going to come directly from Canada.
Wow.
Oh, Canada. And it's a fantastic product.
I agree.
All right. Well,
We all use them, and we all love them.
That is true. Thank you so much to Tour Gear for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
4 on the floor.
All right, David Gander of Breakfast Audio, give us your 4 on the floor.
Okay, I want to admit something first. I don't actually have a pedal board. I have loads of pedals, but I've never really, formulated a pedal board and kind of stuck to it. But if I had to think about it, I think I'd go at least one distortion, obviously. So either a Rat or the GCI Brutalist.
Well, if we're picking 4, David.
Oh, so I have to be absolute about this, right?
David.
Tell us everything, all the little things of why. Tell us the reasons why you got to have that one pedal.
With the GCI Brutalist, for instance, as a distortion, that was actually the first pedal that I built back in, I guess it would have been 2018. So it's a super brutal distortion. I think it was built by or designed by Kurt Ballou, but I think it was a clone of I can't remember the company name, but the pedal was called a Stampede. And I think he used it on a lot of the early Converge recordings. So he released it as a business card PCB that you could build from. And I think I think it ended up starting a lot of people's. I didn't even know you could build pedals before that point. So I would pick that for 2 reasons, I guess.
Okay.
One, because it's what kicked it all off, and 2, because it is a pretty brutal distortion.
So, and that's the GCI Brutalist. It looks like you can actually get those maybe still.
Yeah, you can still get the PCBs, but then I think he released the PCB is called the Brutalist Junior.
Right. And
then
that's God City Instruments, if anybody was like, what's a GCI?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then he also does like a retail model, which is one with more bells and whistles, I think. But it's effectively the same topology, I think, like the same schematic for the most part.
Holy mackerel, there's 19 resistors on that thing. Woo.
Yeah, it's quite a lot for a distortion, yeah. I think it's basically like a 2, I don't want to say anything out of turn. I don't know loads about it, but I think it's like a 2-stage distortion. So it's effectively like 2 distortions lined up against each other, which is probably why it's so heavy.
That's really, really interesting. So that was designed by Nick Williams of Dunwich Amps.
I think it was a calibration at that point.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I think Kurt Ballou, the guitarist,
Can you go ahead? I'm sorry.
I don't think he was just he was part of that learning process as well. So he could probably design it for himself now, but I think at that point it was a collaboration. Yeah.
Can you control that as if there are 2 distortion pedals or just one?
No, it is just one. I think the reason why I say it's 2, I know there's 2 op amps in it, so it's like one op amp going blasting straight into another with some clipping and stuff. So it's still only got the overall controls.
Yeah, that is really cool. You can get that. You can get that card, the PCB for $10 from God City Instruments. That's really cool. Get out there and make one of those, people.
That's the one that started. I probably wouldn't be speaking to you if that card didn't exist.
Wow, that is exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, and Tony is reminding me that I spelled. No, I said. What did you say?
You pronounce it as Dunwich.
Oh, Dunwich, not Dunwich.
No. Do you say Greenwich Village?
Yeah.
Okay.
You say Greenwich. So how is it pronounced?
Dunwich.
Dunwich.
I guess it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. We all learned something. Thanks, Tony, for
Silent
shoving that
W's.
down our throat.
Yeah.
All right.
Professor
Number
Tony.
two. Number 2.
Number 2, I was also going to do another. We'll kind of cover the GCI fandom stuff. And then move on, because the second one was it was another PCB he did actually called the Gradient.
The Gradient.
Which is, and it's a boost pedal, but you can turn the circuit is designed so if you keep the knob at 12 o'clock, there's no boost. But if you go down to on one side all the way, that's one boost, and then if you go the other way, it's another boost. So it's 2 boosts built into one pedal, but you can control it by either side of the pot, which is really cool. And the boosts are like slightly different flavors. So one's a bit warmer, one's a bit more trebly. So I'd say that's probably the one I plug in the most. And it's not like overly heavy, but it's a good boost to stack on top of your distortions. I use it quite a lot for bass as well, which is probably not what it was designed for, but
If it sounds good, who cares?
And what was the name of that one more time?
That one's called the Gradient. That doesn't exist as a retail pedal, I don't think.
Okay.
He only made that as a PCB.
Gotcha.
So you would have to build that one. But like you said before, it's available for, I think that's $10 as well.
Wow. All right. You're inspiring people as we speak right now. How about number 3?
Number 3, I was thinking about this. Outside of distortion, I guess, would probably be reverb. So, to be honest, I don't own a lot of reverb pedals, but the one I do like is the DBA, Deaf by Audio Reverberation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. It's like a dark reverb, a lot of switches.
Lots of switches, yes.
Yeah, so I'd pick that one, I guess. He's quite an inspiring, well, the company's quite inspiring. They're only down the road from here as well in Ridgewood.
Have you ever met up with him?
No, I've never really listened to his band either, so I was tempted to go see the band just to see all his kind of wild contraptions, but no, I've never seen him. But he is, I think I know where their place is. I could probably stalk them and get a meeting in, but yeah, I haven't done that yet.
He seems to be a lovely chap.
Yeah, definitely.
Met him at NAMM, and he's actually been on the show.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, you should go knock on the door. Say, hey, man, what's up?
I doubt he'd appreciate it, but yeah.
Number 4.
Number 4, I was thinking of just going weird, I guess, and a pedal that I absolutely couldn't build would be, and I reckon a lot of people probably say this one because it's a semi-classic, I guess, would be the Digitech Whammy.
Oh, yeah.
Just to have a bit of weird in there. And also I think, from my point of view, there was a lot of bands that maybe this like 20 years ago as well that used to use this quite effectively. So
it's man, I'm telling you, I feel like it's made such a big comeback again. Queens of the Stone Age, obviously, like really, Troy Van Leeuwen kind of brought that back to life, as well as others. I mean, he's not the only person, but I think as people were chasing,
musician.
Yeah, fantastic. As people were chasing the Queens of the Stone Age sound, that is one of those that really kind of started to gain momentum again, and people started buying. I think it was version 5 that is the most coveted of them, because.
And which one's version 5? Is that? I don't even know which version.
I think it's the last one that they really did, because they kind of like fixed a bunch of junk on it. I'm not a Digitech Whammy aficionado, but we've talked about it so many times on the show. I do recall that bit of.
So people have picked it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say it's quite, because I guess I got it because of there was a band back in the early 2000s called These Arms Are Snakes, and they.
Oh yeah.
And what I found out is they almost based the whole band around the Digitech Whammy.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason I bought it. But then I realised, obviously, that, and I was a big Rage Against the Machine fan when I was younger as well. So obviously, that's probably like one of the only pedals Tom Morello uses. So
yeah. These Arms Are Snakes was such a great name for a band. Love that name for a band.
Very early 2000s.
Yeah. Well, that's a nifty 4 on the floor, man. You brought us a couple of new ones, which is great. We love that. And I like also the fact that those are ones that people can actually go build right now. If you're feeling the inspiration, go over to God City Instruments and pick up a couple PCBs and get that solder gun shaking.
Solder.
I know.
Solder.
I say solder.
Solder.
I thought solder was the wrong way to say it.
Well, that's a different thing from where you're from, right?
Okay. Yep.
Anyways, let's see. We're going to move onward and upward. I do want to find out from you, do you have, and this is from one of our listeners, Mark Paget, gave us the great idea of asking, what is your dirty little secret?
What's your dirty little secret?
What? Hang on.
Let's give them an example.
Sorry. Yeah, that's what I was going to do before Gollum came up.
Precious.
Okay, David, can you tell us that dirty little secret?
Yeah, and obviously it won't be much of a secret now, but once when I made a complete mess of a brand new P-bass neck, I think it was a Fender one actually, I ended up cracking it quite badly. I attempted to fix it with shoe glue, or goo, is it called?
Oh, shoe goo?
Shoe goo.
Yeah. So I'm calling that a dirty little secret. It wasn't an effective hack, and actually, ultimately, I had to get it redone by a proper guitar tech. So it does work, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
And that stuff stinks as well.
Yeah. Shoe goo is not for the faint of heart for whatever you're using it for.
It's probably better at repairing guitars than it is repairing shoes.
That's probably a fair statement.
Yeah. It always wears out.
Well, thank you for that dirty little secret. And Mark, you're welcome. We're going to keep this going as long as we can. I love that little thing. All right. We need to find out what is going on with David Gander and this beautiful little thing that you have called Breakfast Audio. Again, if you haven't already checked it out, go to Instagram and check out breakfast_audio. You're going to see some really awesome, and maybe you might say they are brutalist or futurist in a beautiful way. At least the one that we have in front of us. Now, how long have you been doing this with the Breakfast Audio, David?
I guess it would be close to 2 to 3 years, because I was building pedals the first pedal I built was back in 2018, but then I had a break with it when I moved here, and I hadn't really thought about it or built any pedals for a good year or so. And then obviously the pandemic kicked in, so this is probably a fairly common answer as well, is that a lot of people started during the pandemic. So I started more or less straight away. As soon as the pandemic hit, I was like, right, what can I do? And I just reverted back to the thing that I was doing the year before and just got even deeper into it. I was a bit shaky at the start. And then I guess at some point, I can't remember what point, I guess it was the point that I designed the first PCB a few months later that I thought, I've got to give it a name, which wasn't really, like a super intentional thing, as you can probably gather by the name itself. So, but I've kept it ever since.
Well, where did that name stem from?
It was really just, it was like a combination of things, really. Mostly the fact that I was building all this stuff in my kitchen. Second was probably because I just like breakfast. There was kind of a subtle, I think a lot of that stuff I was doing kind of reverted back to like Hunter Thompson and that, and he had like peculiar breakfast routines. So I liked the idea of of the building being a routine kind of thing. So it was kind of a slight nod to that, but mainly the kitchen thing, I'd say.
I love it. I think it's such a great name. Immediately when I ran across it, I was like, okay, I'm going to like this. Doesn't matter what it is. I know I'm going to like it.
And the branding was a bit more kind of silly when I first started as well. So even as far as only just a year ago, the branding was a lot sillier. It was all kind of like a more throwback to like 90s things. I used to have a logo that was kind of based on Beavis and Butthead and all that kind of stuff. So it's only kind of got a bit more serious as the pedals have kind of got more
I love the direction that you went. I mean, I'm in the creative field. I went through like extensive art school and everything, and immediately I was drawn to this because if I felt like it had sort of artistic intent, and if it wasn't, well, there you go, you got that. But if it was, I appreciate that. So,
oh yeah, I would say it's probably, to be honest, like I'm not that good a guitar player, and I'm not, as I say, I don't have a pedal board. A good chunk of it is a kind of artistic intent of sorts. I'm not a great artist either, but a good element of it is that, not just the pedal itself.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, you can tell that it is a creative outlet for you, regardless of what you don't even have to hear these things, and you can tell by the way that you're presenting them. I think that's
good.
A safe
Nice.
thing to say. I also love the fact now you're making PCBs too, just for people to buy.
Yeah, that's how I started actually. because originally, I was building other people's PCBs, mainly the God City ones, but then I was kind of branching out into other ones. And then I started learning the software, the KiCad software that you can build the PCBs. And then once I built the first PCB, that was it really. And then I actually was doing that, just the PCBs for, I'd say a year and a half or two. And I haven't done one for a while, but that was what I was primarily doing. And I was selling quite a few of those. And I was kind of building them just on the basis that if I wanted, because I have to admit as well, before this, I didn't really own any pedals. So I was just building what I wanted to hear, basically. So I was tended to drift more towards kind of the weirder stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd build the PCBs for me to build for myself, but then I'd always have surplus. So I just started selling them. And then when they started selling relatively well, I obviously just started doing it with a tiny bit more intention and kind of printing more of them, basically.
I gotta say, this is a strange situation. I'm gonna recount. I'm not a great guitar player. I don't have a lot of pedals.
I do now. I do have
you do
pedals
now.
but I
You do
didn't.
now, but you didn't.
Yeah, now I've got too many.
And then you wandered into making PCBs for things that you think you wanted to hear. It feels very, very not only accidental but borderline reckless, in the sense, that like that's a strange thing to say. I'm just going to wander into this and do these things. Did you have an inclination to electronics before this?
Not really, but I guess it was more of a curiosity or like a building thing. I did, just to caveat that, I'm not a great guitar player, but I have been playing since I was like 15 and I'm 37 now. So
You and me both. It's fine.
Yeah. So I did play guitar. I just never really got that deep into the kind of gear side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess on the electric side, I was somewhat interested in it, but to be honest, I was kind of interested in anything a little bit techie, a little bit nerdy, and really, I guess the pedal thing was kind of a combination of my kind of technical, nerdy tendencies combined with music, which obviously is one of my favorite things. So that's really what it was. I guess it was just the perfect combination, really, because it's kind of artistic to a degree and very hands-on, like building. I love building like hardware. I used to build PCs and stuff like that. So it's kind of the combination of the two things I like the most. So it was kind of perfect.
Please tell me you'd used a computer before you built one of those.
Yeah.
He built a computer.
Oh, dear. Well, one of the things that I want to bring up now, you've got some really fantastic names to these PCBs. I would love to go through them.
Okay, fine.
Because I think they'll be a great story. But specifically, I want to start with the Malaco Plus modulator, because that is the name of my very first band.
Oh, nice. I reckon. So what I was trying to do, because once I'd made that first PCB, and I was really kind of, I guess, most of the things I enjoy doing creatively is just using stuff in ways you're not supposed to use it. Like, I mean, you can build PCBs that look like that, but you're probably not, it's not
common. No,
it's not common. So once they started coming out in these weird shapes,
it's like drippy milk.
Yeah, exactly. So that one, and then I guess the reference is probably going to be probably the same as your band. So that's a Clockwork Orange reference. And I can't remember. I think it was just because I built that PCB in white, and then I started making the shapes, and then I was like, oh, it looks like milk, and then went backwards from there.
Yeah. The line that I believe he says is time for a bit of the old Malaco Plus, eh? After they had had a bit of ultraviolence at night.
Steaky wake.
Yep.
And they had
bed ways is right ways now.
That's good. They had a bar, a milk bar, or maybe they called that Malaco as well.
It's the Corova milk bar.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
And they had bars like mimicking that here in New York, but I was too late for it, unfortunately.
Wild. Okay, let's see here. These are pretty fun. Tony, why don't you call these off? We got them out up here. Let's start at the bottom where we were.
Start at the bottom. If I can read them. I need my glasses.
You have glasses on. You need another pair?
Well, these are
You need 2 pair of glasses?
Oh, these are bifocals, and if you don't read them,
That
just
would be
straight.
3 pair of glasses.
Okay, shush. Weird science or weird scenes fuzz.
I'll make the Google bigger. Tony.
Thank you. Oh, that
Gee,
is so much
Christmas.
better.
That was actually the first PCB I designed, and I think that was around the time that I was trying to come up with a name for all of it as a whole. And Weird Scenes was like another Hunter Thompson reference, where I can't remember where he says it in one of his quotes or something. He says weird scenes in X and Y somewhere.
Huh.
So it was kind of like I was actually deciding between Weird Scenes being the overall name instead of Breakfast Audio, but I eventually went, because I was designing that PCB at the same time. I was like Breakfast Audio, Weird Scenes, or Weird Scenes, something else. So
Right. David, I have a feeling if we were ever to sit down to breakfast, 3 hours later, we will have talked about absolutely nothing and everything.
yeah, I mean, I tried
the
not to
reference game is huge with you, and I love that.
yeah, it was because I was trying not to think too hard about it. Same with the name, as you can probably tell. So I guess I'm more on the side of when you kind of overthink it, it kind of sounds maybe more pretentious, or maybe it does now. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, what's next, Tony?
The Woland expression filter.
Woland, that was an easy one because I think that was still pandemic. So I was reading a book with where the character is called Woland. I can't remember what the book's called now. It's fairly famous. But if you Google Woland, there's a Russian book, I think it is. It's not written in Russian. But he's the devil, actually, I think, technically. I might have misinterpreted the book completely. But he's the devil, basically. So
that's cool. All right. We've already done the Malacca Plus. How about this one over here, Tony?
Bork, bork, fuzz.
Bork. That is based on the Wow Wow Fuzz, the Ibanez Wow Wow Fuzz, I think it's called.
Okay.
And then I think when I Googled Wow Wow, I think it means something to do with dogs.
What does Bork have to do with a dog?
Bork is kind of like the memeified. It's kind of like me and my girlfriend are really into the whole memeified dog stuff, you know.
Okay.
Puppas and all that kind of business. So
yeah.
Bork is like, it's how the memes write.
Okay.
Woof woof, basically.
I thought it was the Swedish chef on the Muppets.
That's where I thought it was going too.
That's probably cooler, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. How about here we go.
You go ahead, Todd.
The Ruger 12 clipping distortion.
The Ruger. That was, again, and you can tell where my head was when I was first starting this, because that was also kind of like a Hunter Thompson reference.
Yeah, that's a gun.
Yeah, and that's all. That was, in a way, that's kind of like the least original name, because it was just the fact that you can select 12. And actually, do you know what? I was Googling that. I was thinking, there actually isn't a gun, not that I know much about guns, but there isn't actually a gun that has 12.
That's really cool. It's a rotary dial.
Yeah, exactly. And it just selects between.
That's cool, man.
It's overkill, to be honest. But I think after I made it,
that's Motorhead.
The guy from Fuzz Rocious did something really similar called the Total Reclips.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept, basically. It's like 12 different clipping selections.
It's super fun. Super fun. I think that would be a really interesting one to take on as a build as well, for a novice builder.
So if somebody buys one of these PCBs, do you have like a parts list or
exactly? Yep.
So, and where to buy the stuff? Because I would think sometimes those rotary switches are kind of difficult to come across.
Yeah, I tend to when I was doing those, I tended to, for the resistors, you know, I just list the resistors out. But for things like the switches, I would more often than not put a link in of where I would personally buy it from.
Okay.
But I mean, that's part of the DIY scene is struggling through that sourcing. It's probably the worst part, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is the sourcing. So and I often get people on that Ruger one as well. I was kind of like, pick whatever pair of 12 diodes you want, which is probably not the way to go, because then I kept getting a lot of messages saying, "Oh, but what would you put in there?" And I was like, just anything you've got.
We got a couple more of these. Let's see. The Big Nothing.
Big Nothing. That was a reference to, and again, not an original thought, during the pandemic, we were only just watching Sopranos, and
I just started watching that. I'm free. I
Oh,
will
okay.
freely
Really?
admit that. Yeah, because everybody told me to watch it for so long, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch it. Everybody's telling me to watch it.
I'm
Well,
kind of that guy.
yeah.
That's why I haven't seen that dragon one. I haven't seen any of that stuff.
Oh,
because
the
more
Stranger Things and all that stuff.
I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah,
the
no.
more people go on about it, the less I want to watch
Yep,
it.
you're right.
But the Sopranos, I did finally give in, and there's a scene I think where Tony, he's like getting proper moody, and he says, "It's all for nothing. It's all the big nothing," or something like that.
Yeah.
It's all for nothing. It's all the big nothing.
That's that exactly.
That's all it is.
That was your big. That was your best impression, I think.
Thanks.
That's a really good one.
No, somebody
And you've only been-
appreciate it.
That's pretty good.
Let's see. Here's the burger. Well, easy, Jared. The burger feedback looper.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's just that was just because I made it look like a burger. That one's and I like burgers.
What is this?
Yeah.
No, I made it in the shape of a burger. It's a burger. Yeah.
And all that does is it's actually people assume that it's quite complicated because it's in a PCB, but it's actually you could technically do what that's doing without a PCB, just with a switch and a pot and a piece of wire. You could probably do the same thing, but the PCB kind of makes it look better. But all it does is connect the input back to the output, and then there's a pot in the middle to control how much you let back in. So it's basically creating a huge feedback loop.
Ergo feedback looper.
Yeah, and you can put a momentary switch in there as well, so you can press it and create the feedback instantly, momentarily.
I like that. I
Yeah,
might
so
have
it's a
to
good one
try
to add
of those
on.
out. Yeah. Let's see here. The psychic anchor.
That one. What was that one?
That's
That one was
fuzzstortion.
that one is because that's based on a harmonic percolator, and most people, when they build DIY versions of that, they call it something like the coffee machine or percolator or something like that.
Right.
So I thought I was going to be slightly more original on it, and I called it the psychic anchor, which someone referred. I think it was Hunter Thompson again, which I'm showing my lack. These are the only books I read, obviously. He referred, I think it was him who referred to coffee as a psychic anchor.
Interesting. Well, you have a lot more, and I think people are going to have to go figure the rest of out for themselves because it is actually kind of fun, and you've got some really unique little things here, which is really cool. And I like that it's not only you know people can get into your pedals, but also do their own via you, which is cool.
Cheers.
Let's get on with this beautiful concrete distortion. I keep saying beautiful, and honestly, people, if you take a look at it, you might say, Todd, did you get hit in the head or something? Because I immediately was locked into it because their design elements that you've put together, I don't know how else to explain it. I think it's brutalist.
Beautiful in its simplicity.
Yes.
But if you look
and
at
it's
the
brutal,
details,
and it's futuristic.
the details that I like I love the hex head screws that you use to attach everything. That is a super sweet touch.
Thank you for saving me, Tony, because I was just starting to tread on my own tongue.
You were just starting to loop. Feedback looper.
I get excited. What do you want me to do?
But my biggest question from the minute that I opened this up is, do you have these things custom punched or cut? Because this one has 3 sliders on it, which are not, those slots are not easy to cut.
No, and that was the original. I think it's probably one of the main reasons why you don't see a lot of slider pedals in the kind of DIY boutique or whatever you want to call this hobbyist builders, because I think they are too hard to cut. But and I don't own a drill press. I didn't even used to drill my own, standard holes. I used to get that ordered out as well because I don't really want to drill in the house, to be honest. But so there's a company who will do that for you. There's a few companies that do it now, I think, and they'll drill. You can mark out the specification and they'll drill that for you. So as soon as that service was available, which was only fairly recently on the website I use, I just jumped on it because I knew I wanted to build something with sliders for so long.
Yeah.
But it was virtually impossible basically because I couldn't. There's no one in their right mind could cut that. by hand.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
So it's a laser cut, you think?
I think so. Or they use a drill. The service I use isn't like the best, but it's. I think they use a standard drill rather than or CN.
It's probably
I don't think it's
CNC or maybe a milling machine or something like that.
milling. Yeah, I think it's milling because you can see the burring on it. But I don't know. Does laser cause burring?
But it's not round. I mean, you've got 90-degree edges at the ends of those. That's why it's when you look at it. That's another really neat thing about it because everything on here is mostly round parts, and then you got these just gouges in the front that are just awesome. And then on top of that, the logo lights up, but it's cut in the shape of a logo and very small, and it's totally precise.
Yeah, that's done on the machine as well. That was really the thing that kind of pulled it all together. To be honest, if you look on my Instagram, the pedal always looked like this when I was designing it, and it more or less looked exactly the same. It had less. It didn't have the switches on the side.
Yeah,
but it had everything was the same, except I just had a standard LED in the middle, like a circle LED cap. And then I guess the thing that kind of all tied it together was I needed to brand it somehow, but without going over the top. I think in previous stuff that I've done, maybe the branding has been kind of ruined the whole. Or hasn't been in key with the rest of the aesthetic. So using the limitation of this design tool that does the drilling, it can only drill in straight lines. So I effectively used that to cut the B and the A. And then I guess the thing that tied it all together was thinking instead of having like some branding on it for the purpose of branding, was to use it as the LED light as well.
Yeah. On top of that, you've got two side switches, which now we haven't actually talked. We've only been talking about the aesthetic of this pedal, which, hey, I think that says a lot that we've spent this much time on the aesthetic.
It's half of the pedals, right? I think most people who buy pedals probably have to admit that the aesthetic is a relatively big part of it.
It's huge. I mean, with so many varieties of things out there, and that's also, unfortunately for some, that's where a great pedal can go unnoticed as well. On this one, I do really like the fit and finish that you have on the actual case. It feels like I guess, for lack of better terms, when I keep saying brutalist, that's actually an art movement. And there's lots of huge buildings that you might see in like Russia or even Brazil that were these just concrete monoliths. And that's what that kind of reminds me of. In its ugliest form, it somehow is really attractive to look at. On the sides, you got these, which you could say they're clumsy or just sort of different in that usually it's a fancy toggle, but these are just straight switches. Tony, what do you?
Slider switches,
Slider
like
switches,
a Mustang or
switches,
Jaguar switch, which I think is better than a toggle switch. It's too easy to bump a toggle switch.
Yeah.
These lock into place, so that's.
And I guess it is a happy accident as well because the bolts kind of protect it somewhat. I would have loved to. The whole idea behind with that was I would have loved to get metal switches that look like that, but were the same color as the case. I think that would have been good, but they're quite hard to source. So that was kind of like a conscious thing to not use the usual, because if you're going to have sliders, there's no point having toggle switches.
Yeah. Well, so tell us what these two switches do, because let's talk about the sound first, and then you can tell us about the two switches. Sorry, people. I'm sorry. We're excited about it because whenever you see something that's like really kind of new and unique looking, it's like, man, that's what works us up. That's part of the reason we do the show. But it sounds fantastic. So let's talk about how it sounds. Walk us through what you did with that.
Yeah. So, like I said before, I think. After like 2 years of building these PCBs, I hadn't actually gone anywhere near a Rat, and I didn't actually even own a Rat, and I was kind of not going anywhere near it because it's kind of like the de facto pedal that most people start with or end up modding. So I have kind of fallen into that trap and ended up, once I built a rat, I ended up building quite a few. Mm-hmm. And then with this one, I was kind of thinking, I just wanted to put all the bells and whistles on it, basically. So first thing was increasing the headroom with a voltage booster that takes 9 volts to 18 volts. I'm not 100%, on top of all the science that involved with pumping it through 18 volts, but I thought it sounded cool, so I did that. And what else did I do? I put an input buffer on it, actually, because not to get super nerdy into it, but there's an original IC that was used in the rat that's quite hard to get hold of. And when I was testing with other ICs, it didn't sound quite as good without an input buffer on it. But then when I put the OPA 7, which is in there now, it didn't actually need the buffer to improve the sound, but I left it in anyway. So it's always good to have an input buffer on there. So it's effectively an input buffer running into a rat that is when the voltage is doubled to 18. And then there's also the 2 extra mods, which is the standard clipping diodes, which is in the normal rat. If you bought a normal Proco rat, that would be the normal clipping. And then the turbo red LEDs, which is the turbo rat, which I think was released a bit after the normal rat. And then the other switch is the Ruitz mod, which I guess is named after the person that found it, which basically cuts less low frequencies, I believe. And for me, makes it sound somewhat better on bass. I think it's already quite a good pedal on bass, but the adds.
Yeah, that it actually helps the beef in it quite a bit. It gives it quite a throaty punch.
So I guess what I was going for was a rat, basically, but something a bit more refined to kind of fit the aesthetic and still be super heavy.
There's a lot of sonic options with this, for sure, which is a nice thing. And I think it's kind of loaded a little extra on the drive section. It was very drivey.
That might be the input buffer, I guess, that would add that. I think, and the IC. Yeah, maybe even the 18 volt. To be honest, that whole 18 volt headroom thing is. I think it's true. But,
it's kind of a mystery, because usually when you increase the voltage like that, you get a lot more clean headroom out of the gate. This one, I mean, this is a pretty aggressive pedal, I would say.
It is.
And so, I mean, maybe the 18 is just...
Well, I'm going to throw my layman's hat into this. When you get aggressive on the standard rat, it starts to get, that's where it can go everywhere from distortion to fuzz. Right? So it starts to get blown out a little bit.
Yeah.
That stops it from doing it. And somehow you just keep getting more distortion to where it's like, holy mackerel. It's like
doesn't go
distortion.
Fuzzy. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
That could be the input buffer, I guess, or the,
That might be the 18 volts.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. So you guys might actually know more than me about this.
Yeah.
I just build them.
It could be the Hasselblad junction.
Yeah, exactly. Could just be the aesthetic playing a part.
It might. I think that adds to it. I mean, you're not going to be swing low.
Sweet chariot.
With this.
Chariot.
Yeah, a chariot. Anyhow, so how has it been received so far?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I built the first one for everything. Generally, I was doing PCBs, really. And I'd done a couple of pedals before, but they were a bit of a mission to sell. I'd have to, anything else I'd built before, I had to put a bit of marketing into outside of the look itself. With these, as soon as I built them, I hadn't really had to do any marketing on them. They just, as soon as I build any, they go.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that I've only built 20 so far. So, because I'm building on my own, so I'm building in my batches of 5. But I did the last batch of 10 I did, which was a bit of a slog. I built 10 in a week, and they went straight away. So I'm just going to carry on building in groups of 5 and see if they keep going.
Yeah,
but I haven't had to market them too much yet, so that's a good sign, I think.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you're doing that. I'm really, really glad that I found you. I don't even remember how that happened, but the minute I did, I mean, I didn't waste 5 minutes, I got right on the horn. I said, "Hey, please be on the show," because
Exactly.
I as much time as I spend looking at guitar gear, when something makes me say, "Whoa, what's that?" It's like, don't ask questions, just contact. and get in touch.
No, I think it's looks wise, it's
a collector piece for
cool.
sure, man. Absolutely.
And it's probably a little too aggressive to put into my world, but it definitely, as you said, that's the one thing I did notice, and I'm glad you brought that up, Todd, that it doesn't go fuzzy. It just goes more distortion, more distortion, more distortion.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a
and
really
it'll get quite loud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So but
Nice.
if you can back it off to where it is fully usable. I don't want to make it sound like it's
exactly.
just a blitzo noise machine.
Heavy's good too, though. Heavy's good too.
This does heavy. That's
I'd call that an endorsement.
yeah. Well, we are going to, I think, move on to the latter part of our show. Well, we're in the latter part of our show, so we've already moved on.
Yes.
We're going to fire up the old El Camino.
All right, take it back. That's your best impression.
And we're going to swing over to Jared's and find out what's going on.
Absolutely.
Hey,
All right.
Jared, is somebody vacuuming or something?
Yes. Hold on a second. Let me ask if they can pause that.
Tell them.
Tell them.
Don't ask.
Is it the dogs doing it?
Yeah.
Can you please wait?
Hey, lady.
Thank you. Okay.
Way to show her.
That's way to throw your weight around.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's all you got to do. You don't have to be mean. She's awesome.
Yes, this is true. I vouch for
she would do the same for me. Ladies and gentlemen, it came to the point of the show which we like to play a little game called Would You Rather? So you're walking down the street and you go into the local bar where you walk in and you see about 4 or 5 local bands.
Are there swinging saloon doors at this bar?
There are swinging saloon doors, and for Tony's sake, of course.
Yes.
So you hit them open and you walk in and they're all in there.
And everybody stops and turns and looks at you.
Exactly. I give you a choice. I say, listen, you. Here, you've got a decision to make. Here's the Rolling Stones. They're missing their guitar player. You can move on with the Rolling Stones.
Their guitar player.
Ronnie Wood, okay?
Oh, right.
Ronnie Wood died.
Ronzi, okay.
Not the other guy. So
The other guy.
Keith Richards.
He's like the most famous guitar player in the world.
I know who he is. Doggone it. You can either go. Listen. You can either go play with the Rolling Stones.
What am I supposed to do with this? I'm sorry.
You're supposed to chill out.
I'm sorry.
Chill out,
like you
man.
All right. Let me start over.
Start over.
No, don't start over. Keep going. Are you kidding me?
Okay, all right.
Just go.
So let's recap. Let's recap a little bit.
Okay.
Let's recap. So you walk in the swinging doors of this bar. There's 3 or 4 or 5 local bands that you're really close friends with. They're the local bands that you're fans of, you're friends with. You play along with, play gigs with their. You're always on the same bill as some of those guys.
Nice.
Then you got the Rolling Stones. They're sitting there too, looking at you. And Ronnie Wood, he is no longer in the band for some positive reason, right? We don't want to.
Hopefully not the same reason Brian Jones isn't in the band anymore.
Right.
For some positive reason.
So-
He cashed in his
But here's
401k.
And I give you a choice. I say, listen, you could either join the Rolling Stones, and you're going to be a band member until they till they're done playing, which is forever. You've got a guaranteed life with you're going to be rich. You're going to be a Rolling Stone now. Everybody's going to look at you like you're an awesome Rolling Stones band member. Right? Or
That's a T-shirt. Okay.
right. Or you can stay
Awesome Rolling Stones member.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Or you could stay in your local band
Yeah.
that and not be an awesome Rolling Stones band member, but yet you have the chance. If you stay with your band, one of the 5 bands, it could be yours or it could be one of your friends, will hit big. But you don't know if it's your band and you don't know if it's one of your friends' bands.
So you got a 1 in a 5 chance.
You got 1 in a 5 chance of one of those bands hitting big and being big stars forever.
And this is now Rolling Stones as they are now.
Yeah.
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 But you have at least guaranteed 20 years of, being famous and stuff. And
Jared,
even
they're in
nowhere
their
to
80s right now. I mean,
Yeah, I think we're 20 years is pushing it unless the animatronics kick in.
1985 Rolling Stones.
no, now Rolling Stones, but you just have a little bit of time because
Yeah, you know that you're going to be rich and famous for maybe a year.
yeah, or could be huge for many years.
Well, let's change that to 1985 Rolling Stones.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
No.
It's a big mess.
No, I think
Stay
the
with
good thing
now.
would be
Stay with now.
the now, knowing that you're only going to have a short period of time to be rich and famous.
Yeah.
Or you have a 1 in 5 chance of becoming famous
For a long time.
long time by
And you're
staying with the
giving your
local band.
friends, you're giving your local bands, your buddies, a chance to also,
Right.
That
do
makes
that too.
that
Okay.
makes it interesting.
All right.
So do you? And they're all looking at you, and they're going to watch you make this decision.
Okay. Well, this is one for the books for sure. This is it's actually a very good question when
Yes.
we got
We
to
refined it.
Yes.
Like sugar.
Oh man, I'm gonna need therapy from this. Okay, Tanya Blonsky.
You know what? I think even though it might be a short period of time, I'm an old guy anyhow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Stones. I'll have I'll have my 6 months of glory.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. All right. Let's see, Jared.
No, 1 in 5 chances.
So you're gonna go with the local band.
Yeah, I mean, I might, my band might hit it too, but I think I'd rather just be famous on my own terms and not be.
Not riding on the coattails of Mick Jagger
Yeah, but I mean,
or that other guitar player that's in the band.
The other guy.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I don't have any more laughing at me. Oh, I used it all up. Okay. Let's see. Yep.
I'm a few White Claws in, man. I'm sorry.
So that's why you can't be in the Rolling Stones, because he drinks harder than White Claw.
Right.
Way harder.
Oh boy.
This is left over from our New Year's party. So I had to.
You better drink it up because you're getting into the past the
Oh boy.
use by date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness sakes.
David, what are you going to do?
I would go local too, but mainly because I can't play guitar like the Rolling Stones, and also I can't drink. I'm not that good at guitar anyway, but if I had drank as much as they do before they go on stage, I'd be even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know how he can play like that, to be honest, but after a few drinks, but
Yeah.
so I'd go,
Yeah.
If you do it for 50 or 60 years,
Yeah.
you're pretty much on
Yeah, true.
autopilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's all he's done, I guess. So
Yep.
yeah, but I'd still go local, and probably because
Because you're a stand-up guy.
yeah.
You're not a sellout like me.
I'm going to go with the local band as well. Simply because
Nice.
I would just want to watch them do their thing.
See you later, losers. I'm with the Stones.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to say I played with them, but realistically, I would be an absolute wreck, a total wreck, just thinking I was going to mess everything up. And then I would, and then that's all I would be known for is the guy who messed up the Stones show.
Well, you have to watch them all pass, and then you have to go back to the local friends anyway.
Oh, that's
after
part of
about
it.
10 years. Yeah. So that was a good one, I think.
Yeah, that was a solid one. Thank you, Jared. Good
Yes.
one. All right, we need to thank a few people, and then we're going to let our pal David hit the road and be done with us for
Yes. That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a very special group of people that we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, do you know what an executive producer is, Todd?
I do, but you might want to tell those who don't know.
I'm
going to
let everybody know. An executive producer makes this show possible.
That's right.
How do you become one? Very simple. Go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor of this very podcast.
That's right.
Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunity to win things and a genuine handwritten note from Todd Novak himself. That in and of itself is going to be worth money someday.
Oh, my goodness.
We're giving away a guitar pretty soon.
Yes, we are.
I've heard that.
And many other things.
But there's one thing more as an executive producer. What is that, Jared?
Well, you get to have your name right on the thing.
That's right. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Read this fine list of fine people. So special thanks to these executive producers. Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Micah D., Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, Matt Hart, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, Andrew DeHaan, James Bell. And this week, we've got a brand spanking new executive producer, Mr. James Romer.
There we go. Thank you so much.
Welcome aboard, James. You're in good company, my friend. But Todd,
Yeah.
there's more.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, because you've heard this podcast before, haven't you?
Once or twice.
So there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These are the creme de la creme of executive producers. And they wear a fez upon their heads to signify that they are indeed a Grand
An
Poobah.
executive.
No,
We've got three sitting right here that need homes.
Yes.
That's right.
Won't somebody help adopt these fezzes?
Yes.
Go over to Big Guardian. No, Patreon. Shh. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups,
That's right.
Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire, and Congregation Gear Demos. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, thank you so very much. Boy, I love having that list read off.
It means a lot.
It does. It means an awful lot.
Thanks.
and we're so grateful to you guys. All right, David, where can people find your things to do to buy?
So the website is breakfastaudio.com, one word, and the Instagram is breakfast_audio.
And are you going to be doing you're going to keep doing batches? So is there a list that people can get on, or are you just?
I did. Yeah, the last 10 was a list. I think I'm probably not going to do. Actually, list is not too bad. It adds a bit more admin, but I'm probably just going to build in batches of 5 from now on, and then just sporadically put them up on the site with fair warning. I might build more than 5 at a time. We'll see how it goes.
All right.
But I've also got another thing that I'm working on that will kind of break it up a little bit.
Ooh, I dig it. I dig it. All right, Tony.
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I have available for sale. But by and large, what I do is custom work. So if you need a custom pickguard for your guitar, shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. I probably have some good advice for you.
Right on.
Let me know what you need.
Oh, sorry.
Tony. See how you are?
I know.
You're jumping right in there.
I know. I'm sorry.
Now I lost my train of thought.
You were saying Jared?
I was saying just shoot me an email, and I'll just take very good care of you.
Tony does. He makes unbelievable.
He always does. All the time.
Jared?
Yeah. Find me on Instagram, jared.allen.brandon. Ask me anything you want about pickup stuff or guitar stuff. You want to chit-chat about whatever? Send me a message.
All right. You can send me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. DM me on Instagram at guitarknobs. We would love to hear from you. Share us your would you rathers and anything else you might. Hey, your guitar heroes. We're still getting those.
Guitar heroes.
Tell us what your 4 guitar heroes are. We'd love to hear it and share it. We need to say a humongous thank you to David Gander of Breakfast Audio for, number 1, making the cool stuff he does.
Yes.
And number 2, for coming on the show and hanging out with us. Thank you, David.
Thanks for having me.
David.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a fantastic guitar week. And subscribe!
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I do?
Because
You're going to blame it on me.
No, I have
You're going to blame it on me.
No,
I
have.
I thought you'd be a bit surprised, but yeah, I'm not originally from the US.
Yeah. So what part of France are you from?
London. I lived in
Yeah, you're going to lose our guest right even before we start the podcast, aren't you, Todd?
Oh, boy. You got
a
questions?
plan.
Since when are you prepared?
I know. It's terrible. As is
I
Tony.
am, you silly goose. I'm thinking about it right now. Of course.
Silly goose.
I got your back there.
You silly goose. You.
I got you. You silly you.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, Jared.
Hello, David Gander.
I love it. That was good effort.
Can we just do this now?
I'm working on it, man.
No, this.
What?
Instead of clapping.
No, because it doesn't show it. It won't show up as a big giant spike.
I think it's cool, though.
It might be. Stop it.
I got nothing.
What? What are you talking about? You just you got
say
something right there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, so
What a show. What a show.
Lager or Pilsner, whatever goes down quicker. And then occasionally, if I'm feeling dangerous, I'll start drinking whiskey. But that's usually a bad sign.
Interesting. Yes, we have.
That's usually.
so what part of Ireland are you from?
Indeed.
Parrots all across the country.
All right.
Probably want a cracker.
Okay. Stop it. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at guitarknobs. Catch you next time.